We all want to be cancer survivors, and yes, we can help with that. Help that you can be victorious. Now, unfortunately, the choices are not much. It's either conventional or it is alternative. When conventional fails, the patients run over to alternative, hoping for a miracle. When they've started with alternative, when that fails for them, they rush over to conventional, hoping for some relief. Now, it does not have to be a clean-cut conventional or alternative. There is a solution. There's a bridge to help heal from cancer. I'd like to introduce you to the 4 steps. First step, we need to stop the growth of cancer. Very important. Second one, stop the spread, whether it's in the pancreas, the colon, the prostate, breast cancer, lung cancer, no matter if it's there, let's keep it contained. If it has spread, let's not have it spread even more, and there's specific strategies for that. We need strategy to kill the cancer cell, and most importantly, heal the reason for getting cancer. Now, not everybody wants to be victorious because they've got a victim mindset and they want to blame somebody if it fails. Your life is at stake, so let's not wait for a blaming game, and let's do more for ourselves. If you that victim mentality that does not want to do more for themselves, then this video is not for you. For the rest, let's go. Now, we know that cancer is this dark cloud. You wonder what's going to happen. It's just human to wonder whether you will survive cancer. It's human to wonder whether it's going to come back, because you do your research. You know how cancer returns again. And it's an easy answer about why it comes back. Now, I've got some good news. There is MRI technology that just may hold the key to help you heal as what you would like to heal. I'm going to introduce you to the Focused Harmonic Resonance Therapy, the world's most comprehensive solution. There is nothing in the world as comprehensive as this that I will be presenting to you today. It's going to help you heal quicker and also easier. This gentleman, stage 4, decided not to go for chemo. 3 months later, he's booking his holidays and paying his holidays 2 years in advance. This lady, radiation failed, it spread to her spine and started therapies, and 3 weeks later, they said to her, "Ma'am, you do not have stage 4, you do not have cancer." Dr. Irene James, what inspiration. She went for a surgery. They said it's time for chemo and radiation. She denied going for that, and literally going through our system of this alternative to just alternative, or alternative to just the allopathic, which is conventional. She was so excited that she studied further to get her integrative medicine degree, PhD, to be able to help people exactly the same way as what I'm helping people. So that's just inspiration. Now, cancer has a reason to be in your body. And if a doctor is telling you it's got to do with your parents, your siblings, and this is why you've got cancer, that's a lazy doctor explaining it to you, or just not educated enough to give you the right answer. So let's cover the first 2 things of what we must address with regards to the reason of cancer. At the end of this video, decide whether, or identify whether you are addressing the reason sufficiently, or do you want to do more for yourself. So there's a reason for getting cancer and a reason for being diagnosed for cancer. Let me explain. So the reason for getting cancer means the first cell turning over to cancer. That is the manifestation. The diagnosis means there was enough growth to be a symptom, or it could be seen as a scan. Now let's cover the diagnosis. When there was the first cell, it doubled up to 2, then it doubled up to 4, doubled up to 8, etc. What was supposed to take care of this cancer at this stage? It was your immune system, and the immune system failed. Now the reason for getting cancer has got to do with the mitochondria. I want to get into a little bit more detail about it, but hang in there. So why do we say this is the reason? This is the smoking gun for cancer, getting cancer. Because if you take that mitochondria and you put it into a cancer cell, immediately that cancer cell stops acting like cancer. And if we go over to a bad cancer cell, which comes from a mitochondria that comes from a cancer cell, and you go put it into a healthy cell, immediately that healthy cell becomes cancer. So that is the smoking gun. So we need healthy mitochondria. Now what is mitochondria? Mitochondria is in every single cell throughout your body. No matter what is in your body, there is mitochondria, except in the red blood cells. So for the rest, there are mitochondria. Now this is how it looks. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of detail. So the same way as what a power station uses coal to create the volt, the energy that you use for anything in your home, okay, that is 110 to 220 volt. Okay, it's an energy form. The mitochondria does exactly the same. Instead of coal, it uses what we eat, and that is then burnt in the mitochondria to give us energy. The exhaust fumes is the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. That's what the mitochondria does. Now, the energy we're talking about is also the same way as what you had with the wall socket, but now it's just slightly different, more like a battery. So our body's got this energy and we can measure it. When they do a ECG, they measure in millivolt. Okay, so there's a volt, just the thousandths of a volt is a millivolt. So we'd say you can measure the battery in volt, but you can measure the body in millivolt. Okay, so there you can see a lady, and you'll see a 19 millivolt that you see in there. Now, a watch battery is a 1 volt battery, where the cells in your body has got a 0.07 volt. If we divide that by 1,000, it works out to 70 to 90 millivolt. Okay, so we're going to talk about millivolt. This healthy cell has got 70 to 90 millivolt. It's real volt like a battery. You can go test yourself. You can, like you test a battery, you can hold those probes and you can see how the energy is. Now, the previously saw the 19 volt. There I'm holding it. It goes right up to 113 millivolt. Why? Because I'm not a smoker, I'm not a drinker, and I am healthy. Hence the fact that you would be able to test yourself on how the energy is. So now let's go further and saying, what does cancer measure? Whether it's colon cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, no matter what cancer it is. When we go measure the cancer, it measures at only 20 millivolt. Healthy, between 70 and 90 millivolt. So the volt has got a real thing. We need to know that the energy in the cell is going to determine whether it's going to turn to cancer or not. So we need to know what contributed for you to get cancer, what contributed for you to be diagnosed for cancer, with cancer, which means we need to know why it failed, that you are in the state where you are. so that you can do more for yourself because you know of it. Now, when you look at these vegetables, you'd say, oh, Raymond, that is good cancer-fighting vegetables. Now, unfortunately, there are some times that these good nutrition vegetables are going to be bad for you. It's going to be good for the cancer. The cancer is going to grow more rapidly at certain stages if you're eating this. This is what I train in my training when you get part of my clients. So let's get in why we're talking about this. Now, oxygen is extremely important. If you deprive a cell from oxygen, it's going to become a tumor. Why? 80% of that energy the mitochondria creates comes from oxygen. So if we deprive oxygen, we are heading for disaster in tumors, and that can turn into cancer. Now let's get the understanding about that very quick. Now, not too scientific, it's going to be very layman understanding. So what happens, the oxygen goes into the red blood cell, absorbs in the red blood cell, and the red blood cells goes throughout the entire body and then deposits these and distributes these oxygen molecules. That's what happens for the red blood cells. So let's understand very quickly something that your medical doctor did not tell you. And I'll bet my bottom dollar that you are not exposed to this information. Now, within the red blood cell, you've got the thing called hemoglobin. Now, you probably heard that thing, hemoglobin. I call it spaghetti and meatballs. You've got 300 million of these spaghetti and meatball sets in one red blood cell. The meatball is the iron. If you have iron in your blood, you can absorb the oxygen into the cell so that you've got an oxygenated red blood cell. Only if you've got iron in the red blood cell. Now, you need vitamin C to be able to synthesize the iron so that you can have oxygen. That was not told to you, right? Now one more. You need copper to extract the iron from the liver so that you can have oxygen in the blood. You need biotin to absorb vitamin C. Can you see that it's not just you can need iron, yeah, just prescription for iron? There's more to it. And this is type of information that my clients know because we go through this, we train them on this. So you need the iron, we covered that. You need the B6 to give you the spaghetti. You need B12 and the folic acid to be able to have a structure of the red blood cell. That's just some free information to help you today. Start giving attention to it. But, big problem. There's a bad about iron. You know the good about iron, but your tumors need iron to be able to grow. Can you see why it's not just rush and do, it's rather to understand before you do something. And that's why we have got an education process within our program as well. Because even water can contribute towards your cancer growth. Now, just to introduce myself, as you can hear, I am enthusiastic about healing, double PhD in natural medicine, BSc in holistic health science. So it's all going about getting people healthy again. My own father had stage 4 cancer. He was sent home with pain medication and oxygen, thinking that's his legacy he's leaving for his children. Fortunately, 2 months later, his legacy's changed. There you can see him standing right at the back there. I'm standing there on his left with my child in my arms. So we went through the conventional. We went through the alternative, and still it did not work until we added what I'm presenting today. Now, just to give you a understanding, a foundation of understanding of what we're talking about. If you take a tear of grief and you look under the microscope, you can see how the molecules has structured this tear. If you compare it with tear of change and tear of laughter, there's a distinct difference. Now, what's very interesting is there's no fragrance, but if you give a female grief tear to a male to smell, instantaneously the testosterone drops. So why am I telling you this? Is your emotions, your internal, changes your physical. The external changes your physical. Hence the fact that we need to have a strategy for internal and external. How can we change our internal like that? This is where it comes to the magnetic resonance imaging, that MRI we spoke about. Why does it work? Because it can see within the body. Why? Because we identify the resonance. What's the resonance of that? And everything has got a different resonance frequency, and that resonance frequency is then going to help us to identify whether it's healthy tissue or not. Look at this. I don't have to show you that there's a problem in one of these breasts. Why? Because it's white. Why is it white? Because it does not resonate according to the rest of the cells. And that measures at 20 millivolt, the rest measures maybe at 70 millivolt. So that comes back to the volt again. So what I'd like to do is give you this understanding about the resonant frequency. Listen to this, a stressed cell and compared to a healthy cell. This is the resonant frequency that we're talking about. The first one is the stressed. Now for a healthy cell, it's a distinct difference, right? Why? Because the one's stressed and the other not. So the same way you can pick up the frequencies in the air with a device, you can also pick up the frequencies within the body. We just use a different device and it's placed on your wrist to be able to pick up those frequencies. This is then where we have got a scan running to be able to identify where are the stress cells, and once we know what the stress cells are, we know what is the root cause that is causing this cancer. So that scan will be done on your phone to be able to do it like that. Now, we give you a report, a very intense report showing you what is the tumor risk factors, what are the cancer risk factors. We've got 248 tests sites that we do. So, for example, thymus gland. You can see thymus gland. Now, most people don't even know what is the thymus gland. Do you know if you do not have a thymus gland, you've got no immune system? And over the years, for more than 5,000 patients, not one of my patients could say that their doctor gave attention to the thymus gland. Not one of the doctors even tested how's the zinc that's part of your immune system. We need to have a strategy for all these things, so we need to do the test, identify certain things, and then address them correctly. So the whole focus is getting away from these stress cells, getting over to healthy cells. That's what I like to do, and this is the product that we then apply in your life so that you can start changing the internal. Okay, so it gets placed next to you and it now flushes over you to be able to get the body back to the right resonant frequencies. So you do it while you sleep. You've got 7 to 8 hours doing nothing. You can turn it into therapeutic hours. Don't waste the time, rather use that time the best you can, and this is how you can do it. It's safe for partners, kids, grandkids, and pets. So essentially what we're doing is we're recharging the body back to full energy because we have got the resonant frequency sending the right harmonic towards it. So now you can do it while you sleep, but also you can do it while you're awake and sitting at the office, for example. We deliver this worldwide to your home. You're going to be doing it at home, and that's the fortunate thing. Now, every part of the body has got different types of frequencies, different types of resonance, which means we need different quantum codes. Quantum codes is those frequencies sets that needs to go through. There's more than 5,000 frequency sets and more than 1 million frequencies built in. So it gets loaded to your phone. Your phone acts like a remote to the unit. The unit gets connected to the transducers that's going to send this frequency over to the body. So let's change our sleep to therapeutic sleep, not wasting time on just doing nothing in bed. For those that want to do some research, go research harmonic resonance, and you'll see there's a lot of studies done around that. Whether you're busy with conventional, whether you're busy with alternative, does not matter. We can make the change. Now, we suggest you stay within the program for 12 months or even longer. You can extend it, but we suggest a 12-month. Why? It's because 98% of all our atoms get replaced every year. Hence the fact that we've got the 12-month. Even if you got a healing within 2, 4, 6, 8 months, doesn't matter. We want you to conclude the entire 12 months. Why? Because we have to make sure that we deal with the reasons and heal all those reasons so that it does not come back again. It's time for taking action. The price link is in the description. Just go click on the price description and you can get into seeing the pricing for this. You can either stay a victim or you can become victorious. It's your life, your choice. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side.